All right.
Sure.
So, lastly, on a more positive note, the latest in the Fire Emblem series was shown for the first time. And I know that Pear was loving every second of it. You know, I spoke to Pear this morning about it. And you know what he tells me? He says, that face on the big monster, that is from Italy. And he just went through this whole, hello. And they have feet now.
Oh, they have feet.
Yeah, and he just went through
I was excited about the feet. The feet's pretty cool.
Yeah, that wasn't the first thing I noticed. The first thing I noticed was like they started off with a more kind of like CG looking intro trailer,
that was
right?
weird.
Like they made it all epic looking, and I was actually expecting a Wii U Fire Emblem just because the art style was so different from Awakening.
Well, and Awakening, it's the same art director.
Yep.
And fantastic work as far as the art goes.
Oh,
in
man.
Awakening,
So good.
so good.
Yep.
But I'm actually super happy that it is a portable installment because I don't think I could do Fire Emblem on a console.
So
Yeah.
I definitely prefer portable Fire Emblem, and that's coming from someone who started way back on the Famicom with that franchise, right?
Yeah.
So no, it looked really good, and then the CG trailer morphed into the more traditional kind of like 2D anime look, and it looked beautiful. New characters, so not I was expecting when they said it's when. You notice it's Fire Emblem when you see a Pegasus Knight and like some of the
was that what
units,
cued it off for you? Because I still
yeah.
needed a little more time. I wasn't sure.
I was like, oh, here we go, Pegasus Knight. And then you're like looking at, you're like, get away from the arrows, you
But
idiot.
also a very diverse cast of soldiers where you saw like, sort of European-looking or conquistador-esque, helmets versus like Japanese sword fighters. And you're seeing just this range of different battles. And I'm just like, man, this must be really good.
It's a crazy mix of cultures. Like, it looked almost more like Age of Empires or something, at first.
Yeah.
But then it goes full on anime. It has this, the boss you're talking about, this giant creature. He had the Mouth of Truth, which is, it's a monument in Rome where if you've seen the classic movie Roman Holiday, Audrey Hepburn, awesome movie. She sticks her hand in there, and it's supposed to bite your hand off when you're telling a lie, and of course it doesn't, right?
We should take Brian.
It's a great movie, but it's that's actually it's a picture. It's thought to be a pagan god, Oceanus. I know you're gonna laugh about the name, right? No.
I'm
Like
laughing
a
inside. I'm trying to grow up.
Pagan god of the ocean. So and you see this big creature there. Instantly, I'm thinking, all right, they got something with like fighting against these colossi or these gods, these pagan gods. He's got the conquistador helmet.
Yeah. Well, also look at the transition from overworld to battle. That's improved.
Yeah, and
so
then it goes
before
into
it was
the
just like a
footage,
screen wipe, and then you're in a 3D sort of setting. This one just sort of focuses in, like the camera sort of spins into the location on the map. Everything sort of melts away, at least the side soldiers and whatnot, and you see two character models just pop up, and they go at it. You pick what you're going to do.
They run
or
towards each other, which
happens.
is, the classic 2D games have that, where they run and they hit each other. And then with the last
The 3D
game,
ones still have
it
it.
went to this kind of pedestal setup, which is kind of more like, it's more stylized combat. They never actually hit each other.
But I wonder, do they retain the romance element? Do they keep the relationship thing?
We
Has
don't
always
know.
been a part of Fire Emblem, but I feel like the romance element took it a little further.
Oh, it was,
Yeah, it was
Awakening
so
was a
cool.
huge step forward because you're actually getting the kids of the characters, right? And so the matchups were really important, and everybody had a little bit of a different experience depending on the matchup.
Exactly.
But what they said about this game, and they didn't show anything to that end,
Yeah,
but
this
what
is
they
very
said
early.
was that the choices you make have a much bigger impact in this game.
Yes.
And so that's the big question, right? Like, are they talking about the romance element, or are they talking actually about branching paths? Like, Fire Emblem always had choices. Like, if you play on normal mode and one of your characters dies, you will never hear a line from that character again, which is significant, right?
And
like,
it's sad.
all that dialogue from that one character is gone, from the
So,
rest of the quest.
Right now, what we do know, it is going to be released in the summer in Japan, 2015. And also, the name in Japan is actually a lot more interesting than the one that was given to the West. The West, it was just called the latest in the Fire Emblem series. They didn't want to commit to anything
It's
because
amazing
it's
that
probably
they
so
can't
early.
figure that out before they announce stuff.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
crazy.
understand.
I think
Yeah.
sometimes they just kind of show things early. I would presume that's even a fall title, maybe even early January, I would bet. If it's summer in Japan, I don't know how much time they need for localization there.
Yeah.
How much closer they're going to try and time it. But I will say, the title in Japan is Fire Emblem If. That's it.
If
Yeah. That's the title.
IF,
IF.
Yeah.
is
If.
it like IF ...
Imagine the possibilities, bro.
Which to me, I mean, again, it reinforces the concept that if you do something, then something else is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it depends on what you do in this quest.
Yeah.
Which has me super excited.
So
about
are
this
you
game.
familiar with
Also,
the manga
feet.
writer they hired for this, by the way, Shin Kibayashi?
So I
Do
never
you
read any
manga?
of his stuff. I
Okay.
looked
He
him
has
up.
quite a career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, if you're a manga fan, if you're out there and you really like his stories, send us an email at nvc@ign.com. Let us know what you like about his writing. But that they have a professional storyteller involved, again, is great, right? That you have someone who actually pays attention to story. Makes me really excited about this game.
And the last one had a pretty good one without him. I'm curious to see what he brings to the table in terms of, you know, sort of helping to flesh out this world. Because the localization, too, on the last one was fantastic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was very, very well done.
It was a very wordy game, right?
Yes.
Like, it was easy to get annoyed at just the amount of dialogue and kind of like off colors, silly quips and stuff. But it was really quality stuff and really funny too. And I mean, the characters were so clear to you after that game. No, I'm super excited about it. It's great they have feet. Because that was such an odd style choice in the last one, you know?
Sure.
You didn't think so?
No, I did. The stubs were weird, especially when you see someone like take a couple steps as they ran forward. You'd be like,
they're little horse people. Yeah.
You wouldn't even notice. You'd just be like, well, that's another day at the office. But yeah, when they ran up to each other, it was kind of strange.
They're traffic cones.
There was cool stuff in that game too, where there was this kind of almost like the characters were in a spirit world. Did you see that? Right? Like the characters touch and then suddenly it's all like blue, sparkly ghost stuff. And so maybe that's a part that, like, if a character dies or something, they can be in the spirit world. Like, there are all these possibilities.
Yeah, and where the fact that if in fact that was a dancer during the CG part too, I wonder, just because the dancer class can be kind of a weird class in that game to sort of use and wield. Is it more important in this one? Is it more prominent? We don't know. Yeah. But it was definitely a great way to kick off that direct. I will say that, despite everything you've heard this episode, and there's still plenty of other cool things to talk about that unfortunately we don't have time for this week, including
Xenoblade looked good.
Xenoblade Chronicles X looked amazing. Splatoon
looked really nice.
This was the first time I saw Splatoon, and I was actually excited by what I saw.
Oh, yeah.
So I think
it has a tower,
it was great.
And I played Destiny. How can I not be
excited?
I
was like, this is so Destiny. the three sub-weapons, like, I'm hooked. I'm there. Totally. No, but the customization and whatnot. But let's not spend too much time on that. We do have to go. Thank you very much for listening to Nintendo Voice Chat.
You're welcome,
Of
Jose.
course, we are a weekly show on IGN. But we are, in fact, not the only podcast on IGN. There are plenty of other shows from Podcast Beyond, which Marty will be taking over very soon, but which still has some of your favorite friends, Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller, to Podcast Unlocked with Ryan McCaffrey and Marty's on every podcast. We need to do something about that.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, we're hiring new people.
Yes,
so,
we do. And hopefully we'll have Max Scoville on very soon to talk about Nintendo with us. That would be really cool. Also... We don't only have podcasts at IGN, do we? We have videos, we have features, we have plenty of cool stuff on the site. Make sure you come over and check it out, www.ign.com. Believe it or not, visiting the site helps keep the lights on, and it does help podcasts like this continue. So do your part. Check out what we make. We actually make cooler stuff when we have more time. Lastly, if you have feedback on the show, make sure you email us at nvc@ign.com. Also, one of the things you can do if you have positive or negative feedback, head on over to iTunes, leave us a review. It does help with visibility whether you review the show or not, positively or negatively. I'm saying them wrong on purpose.
You did good. You powered through that.
Yeah. I don't like the negative ones. I'm just going to come out and say it right here.
Thanks. Yeah, write those in your own notebook. And throw your notebook in the trash.
No, thank you for the feedback. A lot of people email us, too, with feedback on the show, like stuff that we don't read on the air. Yeah. All of that is super helpful. There were a couple of people suggesting, we're critical on, like, hey, do more of these segments, do more episodes with guests. And, there are a lot of different viewpoints, so we have to kind of figure out, all right, how do we balance the shows? But we'll definitely have more guests on. That's
always a thing. Yeah, and we've been talking about that a lot. Cool. So, lastly, you can find us on Twitter. You can find Brian Altano at
Agent Bizzle,
also known as Brap Raps. You can find. Why didn't you take that Twitter name?
I don't know.
Too many R's.
All right, too many R's taken. You can find Per Schneider at
Pure IGN.
That's PEERIGN. And you can find myself, Jose_Otero, because Vanilla Jose Otero was taken. Do not harass that man. He's probably nice and has no idea who I am. Thanks for listening.
I've got one more quick thing.
What?
Tyrone, if you're out there, You wore an IGN T-shirt on The Price is Right.
The Price is Right.
What?
Thank you.
NVC@ign.com.
Yes.
You rock. Email
the
us.
engineering team was watching it and shouting the entire time.
We must find Tyrone. I have a feeling Tyrone just like found a T-shirt and like put it on, and you know, if you know IGN, man, just email us.
Did he win any money?
Yeah, he won a car.
What?
Yeah, we want to ride in your car, man.
We legally own that car. I'm kidding. Keep
we
your
gave
car.
you the shirt on your back. You will give us a ride in your car.
We'll send you more T-shirts, Tyrone. Man.
Thanks a lot, Tyrone. And for more, check out MVC. Come back. We'll be back next week. Thank you for listening.